Hey, Bible Tea Sippers. Welcome to the Bible Tea Podcast. This is episode 0.
Nada. Nunca.
I'm Coach K. As you already know, I'm here with my broski, my brother from another mother, Dami from the Ethos team.
Also known as Dom the Bomb.
Oh, God.
Just gave myself that just now.
Why are you like this? This episode 0 is going to be about the Bible Tea journey, why Bible tea is important, why the world needs Jesus, more about ethos, like everything. The things that I get in my DMs that I never have time to really answer all the way. And any questions that like you have for me.
You know, I got mad questions.
Okay.
Yeah, why is the sky blue? Just
no, that's not where we
okay.
going. I don't got no answers.
Because Jesus, that's always the answer. Remember that. You've learned everything you need to learn today.
Yo. So before we even jump in, I kind of want to give you just the space to talk a little about the Ethos Fam before we hop into Coach K and Bible Tea.
For sure. So, like she said, my name is Dami, Dami Lola. If you really want to go there, Olu Dami Lola. But regarding the Ethos Fam, we're just a ministry of millennials, kind of outside of Sharon Baptist Church, but really incorporating multiple churches and now multiple states, multiple countries even. Yeah. Really just trying to find a different way of reaching people about Jesus. Really, one of the things I think that we recognize is that the world has a way of making things look cool. Yeah. And sometimes it can feel like Christianity can sometimes turn a dial on that. And so people are like, well, if I want to have a fun life or if I want to be cool or all these different things, then, it means I can't be Christian, right? And I think sometimes people equate those things. But in reality, those things can coexist and they oftentimes do, especially with the events and activities that we have. And we just recognize that, there doesn't necessarily have to be a separation between who you are in the real world and who you are in your Christian lifestyle. Like we're really trying to bring those things together and make it just a part of your natural life. So that's why we have Friendsgivings, which we call Famsgiving. We have a gala, which you would love to attend. We have parties. We've had karaoke. We've had
retreats.
The retreat.
Like,
come on, man.
Yo, them things fine.
Yeah. If you don't know, now you know.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So, it's really just a method to just bridge the gap between the church and millennials. And then on top of that, it's a way to kind of teach people how to exemplify the heart of our Savior, which is what Ethos stands for.
Where we stand.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's just a little bit about us.
We're the dopest millennial ministry out there.
Exactly. Like, have you met her? She's pretty dope.
Have you met all of us?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of us too.
Yeah.
We're all crazy, but I promise you we're fun. We are definitely all, you're going to meet us and be like, what did I walk into?
Yeah.
But by the end of the night, I feel like you'd be like, you know what? That wasn't half bad. Like,
Bible study. Bible study is every first and third Wednesday on Zoom. So you can tap in from anywhere, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Exactly. And follow us on the gram at the Ethos Fam. That's TheEthosFam.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. First time I practiced it, nailed it.
You know what? Yeah. You doing the thing. So let's get into Bible tea. This has been a wild journey. Extremely, extremely wild.
Yeah.
I think the number one question that I get, kind of like how did it start, or like where'd you come from, or like who are you? So like I'll answer that without taking up our whole time of giving my life story. Yeah. Like I'm
a preacher's kid.
You know it. I got
rebellious.
A lot of yeah. I got a lot of titles. Like I'm a Christian life coach. Now a high school teacher again. Ministry leader. Yeah. Entrepreneur. Content creator. I think my favorite titles though are wife, mother, and rebel PK.
Wow, that was beautiful.
I feel like those really encompass like who I am. Like I'm an OG when it comes to this marriage thing.
Right. That is. How long you been married?
16 years.
And that happened when? Like what age?
Oh yeah, I was 22.
Young. 22. I can tell you what I was doing at 22. Wasn't being married.
I was like, I remember some of my friends still going out, still doing all these things, and I'm like putting a crib together. Like I'm like, I know, because we partied hard. Like,
Yeah.
we ran the city. We was somebody at some point
Yeah, I
in
believe
this
it.
city.
I believe it.
So after a while, it was like, we know what we want. We love each other. We've been married for 16 years, but engaged for like 3.
Yeah. No, that's lit. But yeah, no.
Yeah, I never got the proposal until a few years ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It was so sweet.
It was beautiful.
Oh my
I
goodness.
know.
Yeah,
That's a long story. But so those are my favorite titles. But the Rebel Pastor's Kid, like when I really think about like Bible tea, like I can say it probably started from the time I was really little.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell this story. We had, first of all, me and you, I think why we click so much is like we're pastors' kids, but like we have so many similarities. Like I'm Caribbean, you're African, like a small church, and like church, listen, that's a whole different breed in on itself.
You do everything.
Everything.
Yes.
So we had this Sunday school teacher, and I remember I don't know what the story was, but she tried to give us a lesson. Mm-hmm. And then she started to tell what the lesson really mean. And I'm like, that's not what that's about, all out. And, what you say, I'm nice, but direct. Right? So I'm like, that's not what it's about. And she sarcastically was like, all right, well, then you tell it. Okay, like don't challenge me. And I remember getting up and retelling the story and everyone laughing. Like the adults, the kids, and like I really understood King James from a early age. So I think like that's the first inkling. From then I became a Sunday school teacher, children's church teacher, ministry leader. Like by the time I was 19, I say I was burnt out. So by the time I went away for college, like I wanted nothing to do with church.
I'd be burnt out too if I understood King James at a young age. Because that, I don't understand that now. So I applaud you for that, because it's the English standard for me. Nope, we're not doing that.
We're not doing all the thee and thous.
Absolutely not. I'll read it. We'll have no clue what I'm talking about. Take me to the English standard version, please. I appreciate that. Thank you. The message, message me. Passion, 100%. King James.
It was a lot. Like I understood it, but then also like the assignment was given to me from a very young age. Like my mom was told her daughters were going to have a church without walls. That anointing, that like, not even anointing, like that prophecy followed me. Like I've heard it in different versions for years. That's a lot. When all I want to do is like just learn the lyrics of like Tupac and Biggie, since everybody else doing it. But I'm not allowed to listen to secular music. Like I just wanted to be a kid, but like that was, so I ran from it for a really long time.
Right.
And now, like, in the age of social media, like, oh, I get the prophecy now. Like, oh, okay, a church without walls. Like, it's pretty dope. Yeah,
that's fire. So when did you make your, like, very first Bible, like, what you would consider a Bible tea video?
Yep. It was King David. I was home. It was so random. And it was shortly after camp. And like at camp, I was really mad at God. I was very angry.
I was there.
I was very angry. Like, when is my time? Like, I've been making content for a very long time, and I've been waking up at the crack of dawn for like months because you told me to do morning devotion. For like 5 to 10 people to watch. So like, if this is what you asked me to do, like, what are you doing? So I'm at home, and my dad got all these books, by all kind of Bibles, all kind of things. And I see my Bible stories book from when I was a kid. Like, that's the book that I taught little kids children's church.
Right.
And I pull it down and I open it and I'm like, yo. And for the longest, I had this idea of doing Bible stories like it's gossip. I even had a trending sound.
Yes, you did.
Saved on my phone already, because I knew I was going to do it. And it was so random. I did it. And that was the first time I like hit thousands of views. And I was like, oh. So then I did another one and another one. And then I was with y'all. When I did Joseph.
I can never forget.
When I did Joseph. That went bananas.
Talk about a rocket.
Listen.
Out of here.
That went bananas. So I think that I met with a couple of my friends. It's like, yo, how'd you come up with this? It was very random. But the idea like was dropped in my spirit months ahead of it.
And I think the beauty of it, the beauty of me being here, I will say, is that I've seen, like, I saw when you were upset. And I remember saying to you, like, yo, I don't know what God has for you, but I know you're touching people, and people were able to speak to that, right? At camp. And even then I'm like, I'm just telling you what I feel like God is telling me to tell you, but I don't know what that looks like. And the camp probably happened in July.
Yeah.
I think it was September, I want to say, that we were at my house. And I only remember that because you went to Honey Grove, which is where we recorded the video.
Right.
Yep. And you brought me food. Yep. And you brought me food. And I remember that was the day that we decided that we wanted to do a fast together.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we were like, all right, we'll fast. Like, we'll see what happens. That was the day you recorded the video. And within that month, it went from like a couple thousand to many thousand. Yeah. And even now you're sitting at numbers I don't even think I've met that many people in my life.
I don't know. I haven't met that many people in my life. I'm so humbled by it. Like every morning when I open up my account and it's like even thousands more, I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I think I knew I was on to something when I reached like the 40,000 mark. That's when Instagram got, I don't know if it was hacked or like shut down.
Yep.
And influencers were losing thousands of followers, and I was gaining like tens of thousands. I was like, that's a word. Yo, this is crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like I never experienced that, and it was the opposite. And it was like, yo, God, bump the algorithm. Give me God any day.
Yeah. That's the sheep's blood over your Instagram.
Right there.
And he said, yeah, I'll take out all these other ones.
Yeah.
No problem. But you untouchable.
Right.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, it's been wild. It's been really great.
Well, speaking of like, I guess, attacks, do you want to talk a little bit about the fake the fake account that got made?
You made it when people impersonate you. I've been impersonated 3-4 times. Like, I remember waking up and my DMs are blowing up. Like, is this you? Is this you? Like, people literally made fake accounts.
Yeah.
So you have all my content. You're talking about Bible stories, but you're going in people's DM talking about tarot card readings.
Right.
And I'm like, so wild. This speaks to it because people knew it wasn't me because Kay ain't doing that.
Yeah.
No, she all about Jesus. Ain't no reading happening.
Right.
And trying to charge people for it. So, yeah, that's been crazy. But not only that, but like, it's been great, but it's also been really hard. Like, I get DMs of like, don't you know the Bible is fake?
Ooh.
Why are you doing this?
That's an interesting one.
After a while, like I hardly get them now, but only because I have certain words that are like blocked. So it won't allow me to get those messages. But then what's even worse is like the holier than thou one in the comment section. Like, you shouldn't use the eggplant emoji. That's disrespectful to God. And I'm like, Joseph, look, Potiphar's wife, when they say he wanted to lie with him, what you think they want to take a nap?
Yeah, they're not. How? Yeah, she wanted an eggplant. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's be honest here. Okay.
He wanted a nigga.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that's the truth. I'm not making it up.
Exactly.
It's in the Bible.
Come on, man.
So the newest one is, well, you shouldn't call it gossip because gossip is a sin. And I'm like, let me tell you something. I'm about to give all this tea on these Bible characters because there are stories that people do not know or they haven't heard it in a very long time.
Right.
And it's going to make them crack open that Bible.
100%.
And it's going to make them get closer to God. So.
And have you gotten any testimonies about people
all day, every day
that watch it? Yeah.
It's the exact same one, just in different words. It is, oh my God, I found you through Bible tea. I've never understood the Bible like this.
Right.
You make me want to read it on my own. Or I turned away from God for a very long time and you got me in my word, getting back to God. And I'm like, that's it.
Right.
That's the whole purpose. That's all I want.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think that's what both Bible Tea, Coach K as a brand, the Queendom, Ethos Fam, like I think that's all we're trying to do at the end of the day is introduce Jesus to people who would have not known him or who were taught it at a young age, turned away, but are still recognize that there's a gap in their life. Or if people don't recognize it, show them that there is one, right? And just show it in a different light because the world is different and things change over time. I think that's you can never be so ingrained in whatever it is that you were doing before that you're now like, oh, anything that's not this is against God, against it's like, no, like we're just introducing it in a different way. Because at the end of the day, it's all about relationship, right?
Same word.
Yeah.
Same word, same God. same Bible stories,
Yep.
same Bible characters that act just like us, because nothing is new under the sun.
Right. Better preach it. You better preach it.
I think that's what resonates the most with people, is like, oh my God, these characters are just like us. It's like,
100.
yeah.
That's
I know they're in the Bible, and I know they may have been put up on a pedestal, but they were a hot ghetto mess.
Bro, you think that Ghost, Tasha, and Angela Valdez is like a new thing? Come on, man. I can find you about 3 different stories.
You think The Handmaid's Tale
Come on,
is,
man.
listen,
You go to the
Abraham,
Bible-
Sarah, and Hagar was the first Handmaid's Tale.
You are going to find many a threesome, okay, in the Bible. I'm going to tell you like it is. You're going to, if you look for it, you're going to find it. And you're going to find some very wild ones. Oh, no one is off limits.
No.
Your father-in-law?
No.
Your father?
Yeah.
Come on, man. So
In a cave.
Oh, my goodness.
Right.
But how, we're going to get into that one. That's going to be an episode, I
Right.
promise you. But yeah, man. It's just, I think it's really just understanding that, like, even the television that we watch, like, none of it is new. It's really just all of it you can find in the Bible, and it's just about, unpacking it and finding it and presenting it in a way that is digestible. So,
And we just like mess.
Yeah.
We like drama. So I think that's what really gets people attention. Like, ooh, I'm about to sip on this tea. Like,
right,
yeah.
right.
So I think that's what resonates the most with people. We are, like, as much as the Israelites get on my nerves, we are them. Like,
sometimes though, I'm like, but am I really that bad?
Yo,
Because
like,
they were walking with God, and then they were just like, yo, God, this ain't enough.
like, I'm tired of this man.
Yeah.
I want to go back to slavery.
Yeah. Take me back there, please. It's like, are you joking?
Right.
Or-
Reading it make me so mad.
Yeah, but then every now and again I'll do something like, no, I'm an Israelite.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
definitely my
I just
ancestors.
like them.
Yeah, 100%. They got their blood, they got their genes, 100%. Wearing them right now.
I can't. Why?
But so my question for you then is, what was the Bible tea for you that was like the most, like the your favorite one to create?
Oh, that's a lot. Oh, Daniel. Daniel and the Lion's Den, because it was so random. I was making a Marco Polo to my bestie Hannah, and I'm like, "Ooh,
Hey, Hannah."
I'm like, "Oh, I gotta go because I just dropped off AJ, and I'm passing by a hotel, and there's lion statues outside,
Yep.
and I'm like." Oh, I gotta go. I'm about to make a Bible tea. And I remember her being like, yo, nothing is safe.
At all.
You will make a Bible tea out of anything. Yes, I will.
Yeah, yes.
So like I laughed so hard making that Bible tea.
Right.
Like, and then people are staring at me just petting this statue, and like it don't matter. It don't matter if people are around. It don't matter if it's honey grow.
Yeah,
it don't matter.
It don't matter.
So that really tickled me. That was like one of my favorite. What was your favorite?
I would have to say Joseph. One, because
yeah.
Joseph is my favorite story.
Yeah.
Just in the just its connection to all of it is just amazing. But two, I remember the day it was made. 3, you came to my house afterwards. And 4, anytime you can throw an eggplant in a Bible tea video, I'm here for it. Yeah, push the envelope. Push the envelope. Yeah,
Push it. It's only the truth.
Yeah,
I'm only telling them the truth.
That's it.
It's been a couple. I think Rahab was a really good one too. Just because I was at a doctor's visit and I'm outside laying on the ground with a Bible storybook and my feet kicked up just like reading it, and people are just staring out the window like, what is this? Because you would never catch me without my tripod, my Bible stories book,
Yeah,
and my phone. I'm good to go.
Yeah, you actually made me buy one, I think.
Yeah. Because Ethos Bible tea is a thing.
That's clearly.
I think one of my favorite couples therapy ones is definitely Abraham,
100%.
Sarah,
100%.
Keith in it.
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. It's the look he gives. It was like, whose fault is it? And it's like,
you told me.
Bruh, come on, man. Just too funny.
It's fun.
Yeah.
All of them has been fun to make, and I'm so happy like the team is on board and like we get to make content together.
100%. And I feel like that's also just such a small window into like who we are, and just because even when you see like the Bible tea videos or even like the therapy videos, like it's only what, a minute long, 2 minutes long, right? But if you know how long it takes to make it, and it's not because we don't know what we're doing, it's because we just be laughing, and laughing.
It's also never scripted
at all.
Like this is all
no
just
lines.
like us.
No lines. It's everybody. Y'all know the story well enough. All right, let's go.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, and it's just
and then it's gold. It's just chef's kiss.
Yeah, if you guys saw some of the behind
bloopers?
the scenes, the bloopers. Yeah.
No, Jacob, Leah, and Rachel with Rock.
Yeah.
Being Leah. What? That's my favorite too.
I wonder. It's funny though, because I'm like, I wonder if people realize that that's a guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, or maybe they just think like hirsutism is the thing. You know, there's some meds that give you a little bit of facial hair.
Listen.
Hopefully you guys all knew that. Like, yo,
we wrapped him up real good.
Ugly.
That person right there is
no
a guy.
offense. Yeah, Rock is not an ugly guy. But he's an ugly girl. I will give him that. Sorry, but
I think we just have fun, and then people are like, "How are you so deep in it?" These stories are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
These stories are amazing. I will never stop loving them.
Right. But I guess then that brings up a question. Has there ever been a time in your walk that you have been like, I quit?
Recently or?
However, I guess both. If there's like a more recent time and then older.
Definitely not recently. Like once I got this, like once I understood my assignment, like I was
locked in.
Mm-hmm, like because this is like life or death for me. Mm-hmm. Like waking up at 5 a.m, going live, doing morning devotion, that was to save my life months before I went live and did it for everyone else. And I only did it because, God put it on my spirit to do it.
Right.
He was like, oh, you're feeling better. You're out of that darkness. You're out of that funk. Guess what? Now do it for other people.
That's fire.
So like that part, like I have to do that. But yeah, once I got to college.
Minister.
Church or what? No, thank you, baby. No. I could count on one hand from like the age of 19 to 28. I can count on, it's less than 10 times that I went to church in all those years.
Wow.
And it was always to Sharon. Because, and it got to a point where like sometimes, now don't get me wrong, I always loved God.
Right.
Always felt like I had a relationship with him. But like the church part, I wanted no parts. It will be times like I'll be like sad or like me and boss will like get in an argument or something and I leave and I will pull up to the parking lot here. Because it was like, I know, like I just want to be close, not realizing like, hey, like it got to be inward. You could be close to God without physically being in the building, but it is important for like the fellowship and the serving.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the serving part.
100%.
So for years, and by not being connected to the church, I wasn't using any of my gifts. What's crazy is, I mean, you want to talk about my titles now, but when I was a teenager, my titles then, like being a youth director at a young age, regional youth director, choreographer, like all these things, me, my sister, and my cousins were responsible for bringing praise dance to the Northeast region of our denomination.
Right.
So like everyone knows who I am. And then like coming here and for years, coming here for years, and my friends they did not know that Katie at all. And I remember a few years ago, Treese had a humongous backyard party. It was amazing. She had a Congo player there, and he started letting people play. I was like, hop on this real quick. When I was done, all my friends of almost 20 years were screaming like, hey, we didn't. I was like, oh, y'all don't know who I am.
Right.
Y'all have no idea of this side of me. Y'all don't know I can bust a tambourine.
Right. Well, yeah.
Y'all don't know
and anything is also a tambourine.
Yeah,
by
anything.
The way.
Anything. Give me a plate, a slipper. Listen, I play the drums. I can sing. I can hold a note. I can't sing, but I can hold it. You know.
Yeah.
And like they know nothing of that church girl. So that really opened my eyes. Like, oh, okay, it's like time to tap into my gifts. Like I'm not using my gifts at all.
Right. That's amazing. That's amazing. And I guess that's probably why AJ's so talented.
Oh, you think?
I mean, I would think so. You got to get it from somewhere, right?
Yeah, both sides. You get it from both sides for sure.
Right.
But I will say the drumming, I feel like is me because when I was pregnant, I used to be busting the drums.
See, there you go.
On my belly.
His head.
And every time.
On his head. Yeah, why not?
And every time he'll always go, boom, just one, just one. Like, I hear you, mommy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe.
You just trying to get the rhythm right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fire. Where do you see this all going?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So who knows? I know it's in direct correlation and connection with ethos.
Right.
Like however I go, we going.
We going, yeah.
So we already have a ministry. So I mean, I draw people to, okay, you love this. Well, make sure you go to Bible study.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm just literally just being obedient for like the first time in my life.
Ain't no time like the present.
Because the rebellion, the rebel in me, baby, I got stories.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, what makes you a rebel then? Or what made you a rebel?
Okay. I constantly did things my way. And it wasn't like I was rebelling against God. I was rebelling against like the tradition of things. Like I just didn't understand why it was really, even though my parents were really dope and cool, like I was still grew up in a Caribbean Pentecostal household. So I feel like what made me a rebel is like, I'm still going to do everything that I want to do, even though you told me I can't do it.
Right. Because
you just probably would never know about it.
Right. See.
So that's where I was. And then the whole pastor's kids are the worst. Just leave us alone. Like we're doing all the things other people are doing. It's just that you have us on a very high pedestal.
That's
and you're just waiting for us to fall off.
Ooh, that's deep.
Yeah.
But I'm not terrible. Okay, let that be known for the record. I'm not terrible. Now my brothers, I cannot speak for them, but I know that I am great. So
I want to connect that back though, because I constantly did things my way, and now I do things my way just with God. Like I know this is the steps that He want me to take.
Right.
I know I'm going the right direction.
Right.
I'm still going to do it my way.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like with God's like stamp of approval.
Yeah.
And I think that's just in general how He works, right? Like if you even look at the Bible, I would say that the reason that so many people write about the same story is because He wanted different people's perspective on the same thing, right? And obviously they are to different audiences and everything like that too, right? The Jews, the Greeks, Romans, all that jazz. But I also think that God gives us our gifts the way He gives it to us because He wants it to be our way through Him.
That's good.
Right? It's not just like this is what I want you to do, and it has to be exactly this way. And sometimes he'll give you a task like that. Like it needs to be this high, it needs to be this big. But sometimes He'll say, I want you to do this. However you decide to get to that, that's on you.
That's on you.
Yeah. And it's like as long as you're obedient and following whatever I ask you to do, like that works for me.
I think it got like ignited in me years ago. We went. Sarah Jake Roberts, she's my bestie in my mind.
Okay.
And she came here for one of her conferences. It was February 2020 before we knew it was about to be a pandemic.
COVID.
Listen. And she came and she was like, I flew here to tell one person, I'm their Elizabeth to their Mary. Because you're pregnant with something and you just need confirmation from someone to tell you it. And she was like, so she's going in and the world revolves around me. So I'm like, I don't care that there's almost 20,000 people here. You came here for me. This message is for me. And I remember just like bowing down and crying, and like all my praise dance sisters are around me. And when she said, it's the thing that comes so easy to you. Nobody else can do it like this but you. So now in hindsight, I'm like, ain't no tea like Bible tea.
That's fire. Wow, that's amazing. Shout out to Sarah Jakes.
Yeah.
If you're watching,
you're my bestie.
Yeah. You can sit here one day. That's totally fine.
I think
she'll allow you to do that. Yeah. So.
Or I can come to you.
However you want to swing this. Yeah. But no, that's so fire. That's so fire.
I got a question for you. Why do you think people need Bible tea? Like, why do you think people need this word?
Well, I think part of it we touched on earlier, right? Literally nothing new is like under the sun, right? So I think one of the things that people are going to be able to relate with, even if it's not their story, they'll know a story like it, right? And it's like, wow, this is opening my eyes to the idea that like the stories in this Bible are true. I need to see what else is there. And I think just in the simple fact that they're interested in the small story God is going to speak through those stories and speak to them, right? I think people that probably watch Bible Tea are probably mostly interested in because it's entertaining, because it's fun, it's like lighthearted. But I think what they don't realize is like once they open up the Bible, they're going to be reading it, but it's also going to be reading them too, right?
Ooh.
And so it's like they're going to like be like, oh, I want to learn about the story about Joseph, da da da, and it's like, oh wait, like all this hardship I'm going through actually might lead to something. Like that's kind of crazy. And it's like, oh wait, I'm reading about the story about Daniel and the lion. It's like, oh, I should stand firm on the stuff that I believe and not be like easily shaken. Like that's crazy. And I think that's where like the beauty of Bible Tea is that it's, you know, people are looking at it with one lens, basically thinking like, oh, like this is entertaining, this is cool. But at some point it's going to hit them different. It's like, oh no, like this story, this Bible that I'm reading, like all these things translate to one person, which is Jesus Christ. Yeah. And that person I need to know, I need to learn more about him. Yeah. So that's at least my take on it.
Why? Because Ethos audience is millennials. Bible Tea audience is millennials. Yeah. Why is there such like this hunger from us? Why did we leave the church, do you think? And why are we like trying so hard to come back?
Yeah, I think what happens, and it's just I think just very natural, is right when you're young, you don't care about church. You want to watch Power Ranger. I don't even a Coco Melon, is that what the thing these days? Like you just that's all you want to do. Yeah, you don't care about going to church. Like if it's not a vibe, like you're not really trying to. If it's not your television, if it's not your iPad these days, like you don't want anything to be involved with it. And I think what can happen is that just becomes instilled with you, where church is like this thing that you're forced to go to. And so that feeling gets kind of stuck with you. And so the moment you get the chance to make it not a part of your life, oh, I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out. But I think what everyone who has ever turned back to Jesus realizes and recognizes is that like, no, like I need this. Like, you know, I thought it was like being forced on me, but it was actually teaching me things. Yeah. And I think that's just like a natural progression of life, right? While you're growing up, your parents are telling you like, yo, you need to make your bed. Yo, you need to do this. You need to clean. And you're like, yo, I'm not doing none of that. And then you get your own house, you get your own apartment, and then you don't clean. And it's like, yo, why do I got mice everywhere? Like, what is going on? It's like, oh, okay, right. maybe there was like a method to their madness, right?
Right.
So I think it's just the same idea with church is like, you know, I think people sometimes feel forced when they're young. And, you know, part of that I think is just maybe not necessarily being given all the tools to understand like why it's important, or just not even accepting it in a way that you can digest it. Again, it's like you talk. Sometimes I think that, and this might just be a life thing, where parents talk to kids, but in a very high level way, and not necessarily bringing it to them in like the lowest of way, right? It's like, yo, literally the reason that you woke up this morning is because of God, right? Like the reason that you're able to go to school is because of God. The reason you're able to understand things at school is because of God. And I think sometimes that the pomp and circumstance of church can sometimes get in the way of that, where it's like, oh my God, I got to get dressed again, and I like go to this place that I don't even pay attention anyway, and you know, so I think that might be part of it.
That's good. I think for me, and maybe this touches to other millennials that grew up in the church as well, like church hurt.
Right.
Church hurt. What I did was I associated God with the people that hurt me. So I had to learn, like I had to literally relearn God for myself.
Right.
Like I couldn't go based off of who my parents said he was or what the church said, because oftentimes church does mix up like tradition with religion. And I had to learn like, oh, like from the beginning of time, God has always just tried to have a relationship with us.
Facts.
So like coming back to it, and I feel like a lot of millennials in that space are like there is something missing. I have tried it on my own. I have done things my way. Things are not working. There's something that is empty and missing, and I think that is God. And like I just want to get closer to him. Like I want to try him for myself.
Yeah, and I think, and you speak to it so eloquently, and I think part of it is the fact that people forget that the people in church also need church, right? So it's like, it's not the healthy people that need church, or it's not the healthy people that are even in church. We're all sick, right? We're all trying to figure it out. We're all trying to like be better. We're all trying to, you know, get closer. And I think sometimes what we do is we equate the God that we serve with the people that God is kind of called to be around us, right? And forgetting that they're human too, right? We literally all make mistakes. Like if you have not ever made a mistake, this podcast is not for you.
Right.
Because you should be with God somewhere, sitting at the right and left. It'd be Moses,
It should have been you up on the
Elijah,
cross,
and you.
'cause
Right.
you perfect.
Right. Exactly. Right. So I think, sometimes I think we can forget that part, that, it's all of us are sick and all of us are trying to figure it out. And, not to associate the God that we serve with the people that God has created too, that he's also trying to work through and trying to work in. So,
You know what really helped me? Like really learning the difference between carnal and like spiritual. Like people that are still fleshy, and like
Right.
that helped me tremendously, because I'm like, oh, you can be in church your whole life and
Right.
still real carnal. Like you could be messy.
Right, right,
That really
right.
helped me like compartmentalize people. Like, okay, like you're still a babe in Christ. You like 60 years old.
right.
And you still just on breast milk.
Right. Not at 60.
And I'ma just be over here and I just want meat. Like
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
God. I want to walk in the fruit of the spirit. Like I actually want to level up.
Right.
So that really helped me too.
Yeah. And I think that comes with just having a relationship, which we've kind of like hinted at a lot so far, right? Because I think that's another piece that I think sometimes gets missed in the tradition of, or the religion part of Christianity, right? It's like, oh, you go to church every Sunday, you sing a couple songs, you make sure you pray, you say your Lord's Prayer, Our Father, blah, 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 right? You listen to the sermon, you write down notes, and it's like, okay, but like,
What do you do with the
yeah,
notes?
like, is this school? Like, okay,
Yeah.
like I did all that, but I don't feel changed. I don't feel any closer. But that's, I think, because we don't always do a nice job of saying like, no, it's like this relationship piece. It's like, God is not someone who you just go to, like, who you go to when you just need stuff, right? He's always there in your happy days, in your sad days. And I think that's why, again, the Bible is so important, because it'll show you that. It gives you proof of that. And Jesus Christ says it himself, right? He's just like, I'm always here with you. Like, even after I leave, I'm giving you a second comforter, right? Which is always walking in us, and working in us. So I think that's where it's like, that relationship piece is so important. I think that's something that we just learn over time, right? As we grow older, as we start to appreciate just the friends that we have in the social settings that we're in. I think that might be part of why we can better understand the relationship that we need with Jesus, is because we're getting better understanding of the relationship that we're currently in, both with ourselves and the people around us.
Yeah.
So
Self, other people, God. And application. Because you just can't read it.
Yeah.
You actually have to apply it.
yeah. Because some people can quote the entire Bible and then literally curse you out.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you ain't walking.
Yeah.
Your walk don't match the talk.
Exactly. You might be just, kind of just like crip walking in it, but not really walking.
Not
Yeah.
the crip walk.
Yeah. You hurt your ankle. It only sounded right. But no, I think that's so important. And I mean, that's something that Bishop is always talking about, right? It's like, you might be every Sunday in the pews, but you might walk right outside them double doors right into the foyer and then curse somebody out, or have a mean thought or a lustful thought, or all these different things. And Lord knows, I'm not bashing anybody, right? Because we all deal with fleshly desires. Like I think Paul is the one who basically says, like, all the things I want to do, I don't do. All the things I don't want to do, I do, right? It's literally that simple. And it's like, okay, so if that can happen to one of the same guy who said, like, yo, none of y'all should be married because y'all really should be focused on Jesus, right? If it could be that same guy who can talk about that, then it's like, no, I need to give myself grace as well as like other people's grace as well. So, yeah.
It's the application piece for me.
Yeah, for sure. Have you felt like you've like grown at all through this like Bible tea a journey, I guess?
Yes, I have.
And how so?
Making sure I walk my talk.
Okay. Yeah, that's
for
deep.
real. Because like I am my brand. Like I literally, like when I just started a new job and like all these people are like sitting around venting and like being messy, and I'm like, what do I look like having a women's empowerment platform, talking about God, talking about Jesus constantly, and I'm like in this mess. Like that don't go, that don't match. So like definitely growing that way. But like I really want to study to show myself approved. So like,
Give it a quote.
listen, because I be in the word, and that's
on,
exactly
man.
where I'm going with
Okay,
this.
it's lit.
Like before I do any Bible tea, before I do my explanation videos, like I am literally studying. Like I'm in the word, I'm reading different commentaries.
Right.
Like I go deep down the rabbit hole.
Right.
And that just makes me even closer. Like God is amazing. Like nothing is random. The
Right.
way that He connects everything is like so dope.
Right.
So it just makes me fall even more in love with Him. And then like, well, how do I get to that?
Yeah.
Like how do I make sure everything I do connects the dots and things like that?
And I think, the beauty of that is that was such a word for your viewers, your listeners, and I don't even think they caught it, right? Because you're talking about your platform as a whole, but realize that as children of God, all of us have a platform. If it's your work, if it's even just how you're driving, if it's your kids, if it's your husband, if it's your wife, literally that is your platform, that is your ministry, and you're literally supposed to exemplify the heart of your Savior in every single one of those instances, in every single one of those areas of your life. So if you look at it as every single one of those is your platform, it changes the way that you view how you operate in that space, because it no longer is it like, oh, like finally I could be me. It's like, no, me is like God's best version of me. And it's okay to fall short, but it's always important that that is the goal, and that's what we're working towards.
Like, sometimes we're the only Jesus or the only God that people know and see. So like, what are you saying about Him? What does your life look like about Him? So.
Yeah. And that is so, because I recently at this point got a new job, and at some point a couple of months after I'd left, I kind of talked to one of my coworkers, and she was I think she had actually come to us to our volunteering event. I think her relationship with God is one in the works, we'll say. And the preacher had kind of said something about making sure that you kind of show God in everywhere that you go, and she kind of just pulled me to the side and she was like, no, like, mind you, I didn't even catch it at first. I didn't realize she was talking about me, but she was like, yeah, like the job has gotten a lot like more dim since you've like left. Aww. And I was like, and at first I was like, wait, are you talking about me? She's like, yeah.
You were the light, Tommy.
Allegedly. And so I was just like, what are you talking about me? She was like, yeah. It's just like, she was like, like, I think without you even realizing it, like you carry God with you and like in everything that you do. And it's just, it's just so interesting, because it's like, I know how I want to be perceived. I know what my goal is and my attempt is in all of this. But I think the beauty is like when someone is able to kind of speak to that, and it's like, I think that's where God is like, yo, like, you're doing the right thing. Like, keep going. Like, keep me at the forefront, and like, all these things will be okay. So, and I think that's the beauty of our walks, right? Because I think at some point in life, and probably in some point in your journey as well, you realize that there was like this separation between who you were in your mind at church and who you were in your mind like at home or with your friends or everything. And so at some point it's like, oh no, like I was just being myself. And it's like when you feel comfortable that you are showing God in being yourself, I think that's when you're like, oh no, like God is really like changing me. Like, the Holy Spirit is really changing me in this process. And I think that's like so beautiful. That's
so good. It's that unashamed thing.
Yeah.
For me, like, I don't want to be politically correct. Like, I don't, if you're offended by me saying Jesus, like,
then you offended.
Jesus.
Right.
Jesus.
You gotta take that up with somebody else.
Like, I'm never gonna stop because it's real. I remember getting into like a heated debate with someone, and it was like, you only are a Christian because that's the way that you were raised. And I was like, if you only knew, like, I realized that things happen in my life when I call on the name of Jesus.
Facts.
Like when it became my own experience.
Facts.
That's what changed for me. That's what the switch was for me. Like everything gets better.
Everything. If you don't know the song, you just just shuffle it.
Everything.
Come on, sing it. Okay.
No.
We're done. But so to that point, I think that is because, a lot of people that I've talked to will sometimes, I'm also a pastor's kid. I've also, had that walk, also been put on that pedestal of like, you're a pastor's kid, so you got to lead this ministry, you got to play guitar, you got to play piano, you got to do this, do that. And it's just like, bro, this is a lot. It's like, I didn't ask for this. I just, in case anybody asked my opinion, I did not ask for this. And it's really when you are at your low that you're then like, oh, I need Jesus. Like that is literally my experience, right? So I never stopped going to church, right? I went to church through high school. I went to church even in college, but it always was kind of like, oh, I'm going because I have to go. I know my parents are going to ask me, so I have to go. I have to go and sit in the pews. I got to listen to what they talk about. Man, I tell you, I tried. Okay. But so I always sat in the pews. Even when I came out here for pharmacy school, still went to church, found a church home. And I was like, okay, like this is kind of cool, da da da. And then I went to New York. And when I went to New York, I was in residency. And then when I was in residency, I was stressed out. Okay. You can put a couple letters between stressed and out, but I was stressed out. Okay. And so I did not, like, I was literally at work 7 days a week. Like it just, if I wasn't, I was back traveling, trying to, you know, make time for friends and everything like that. So it was like, the only time I went to church was if like my dad called me like, hey, I need you at church for this, that, and third. All right, fine. I'll go. So it was really like, I could count on a couple of my fingers, like how many times I actually went to church in that year. But when I tell you, I was the most depressed that I've ever been, right? Like it just was such a weight on me, such a like, I have just this feeling of I could do nothing right. Like it was just all of this stuff. And so when I moved back to Philly, I made it it was like a top priority. Like I need to get back in church. Yep. I just need to see what that does for me. And I will just never forget when I walked through them doors at Sharon and then they were like, all right, hug your neighbor. And I'm like, hug? I'm like, all right, like this church got about 500 people in it, but sure, hug. And I was like, oh no, this feels like home. Like this feels, and then I want to say it was Pastor Carbo gave that first sermon, and I was just like, wow, this Liberian guy is pretty funny. and so then I came back and I was like, all right, like let me hear. And then I finally heard Bishop's preaching, and I was like, yo, like different. I was like, oh, this man is like I need to actually bring out my notepad. Like this man is teaching, and then it just created this like desire, this like yearning to like get closer and closer. And that's basically how I got involved with Ethos, because you know, I literally just text Keith one day like, yo, bro, I want to be used. Like I don't know what that means to you. Same. Like just like if you have anything, like just let me know how I can be of assistance. And he's like, yeah, you know, I'm recording this video thing, like just come out. I'm like, all right, cool. So it was this like relationship event that they had. And so I'm over there. Mind you, I had a girlfriend at the time, and I'm over there like, I'm in love with my best friend. And I was just like, I had to warn her like, yo, by the way, they just told me to say this. Like this is not actually how I feel. Just you know, but you know, and from there, like people recognize me in the church, and even the way I got involved with the church, like the choir ministry, is literally the choir director see me in LA Fitness. Right. So literally all that I say all that to say, it literally started from me making a decision to say, yes, I want to be you. Like God, fine. Like you've been telling me I need to do stuff for a long time. I'm ready to do it. You just show me how. Yeah. That yes story. Yeah. For me, my yes story was, ain't nothing like a good cry in the shower. I don't know where guys cry, but we have good cries in the shower. Yeah. And we had just moved, and it was a tumultuous years. We moved 4 times in 2 years, so it was a really tough time in our lives. Yeah. And I remember I'm in the shower. I'm like, oh, I'm so happy we got this new place and yada, yada. And God was like, you still ain't tell me why you mad at me. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't want to talk about this. Like, it's been years. Like, God, get out my business. Right. Like, and it was because, like, for the longest, I always wanted a second child because I wanted a daughter. Like, I just knew I was going to have a daughter, and, like, it just never happened. And I remember, like, really hearing, like, will you still do what I called you to do, even if you don't get your heart's desire? And when I tell you I cried heavy. Into that water was ice cold. About sitting at the bottom of the tub, just crying. And then finally I just stood up and I was like, yes. Yeah. I was just like, yes. And everything fell into place. You ain't looked back since? Nope. Wow. I haven't looked back since that yes. Yeah. No, that's fire. That's fire. Yeah, that's amazing, because I how difficult must it be to have one thing that you're like, God, if you give me this one thing, and then he's just like, no, but will you follow me? Yeah. And it's like, wait, are you sure I can't have? It's like, it's no, hard. But will you still follow me? Yeah. And it's like, it's like, if you, Because what can happen if you say yes to that thing and no to God, you've now made that thing your idol.
Okay, preacher.
I'm chill.
Okay.
But it's a fact, right? Like it's something now that you've taken and you've put above God. Mm-hmm. So God is really trying to, it's a heart check when he does something like that.
Child.
He's like, God, if you just give me if you just make this relationship work, it's like, no, but will you still follow me?
Yeah.
It's like, but God, like if I'm barren, like I've never had a kid, like will you still follow me? Mm-hmm. He's like, no, but like, don't let my dad die. Like I need him. But will you still follow me?
Grief? Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think when you get into a space like that, that's when God is like, all right, now you're ready.
Yeah, desperate, that like no matter what, it completely changes your life. And you got to be really careful to what you're saying yes to, because baby, it ain't for the weak.
Yeah. God will sometimes give you what you need, but sometimes he'll make you work for it.
Yeah.
So there's that. Don't think it's just lollipops and candy canes. Like no, he will put you through some stuff, but the reason he puts you through some stuff is so that he can get you prepared for what he has coming for you. Because sometimes that stress is him opening up your cup, right? That way you can put more in it, so.
Oh, that's good. That's a word.
Come on, man.
That's a word, right?
Yeah, we got reusable, flexible cups. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for this season. I'm calling this season Genesis. And we're just going to dive into the Bible stories, really relate it back to culture, and just literally just break it down and talk about these stories.
Right.
Definitely gonna be tapping into the audience, seeing questions that they want to know, things like that, and it's gonna be wild and fun.
Yeah, because if you've ever read Genesis,
it's a lot in there.
It's a wild one. And if you don't know what that is, you might want to crack open your Bible.
Listen, it cannot sit on the shelf, and it cannot get dusty. The last thing that I really want to say about like reading the word, because what I get a lot in my DMs is, what Bible do you recommend? Because I just don't understand it. And being a teacher, I understand there's a big difference between reading and reading comprehension. Like you could read, but do you understand what you read? Right. So I just want to say, like, it's 2023.
You're right.
There are hundreds of different Bible versions.
Hundreds.
There's absolutely no excuse why you are not reading your Bible.
You're looking at that camera.
Camera. He told me that's my camera, so I'm looking there. So make sure that like you and the Bible verse of the day is not enough. I need you to get in the word.
That's called pretext.
Okay.
Without context.
Right.
Thank you, Bishop.
Bishop.
That was Sunday.
Yeah. You know it's gonna rhyme.
Yeah.
Seriously.
If I had time. But Wesley said we got to wrap up.
Right.
Shout out to Wes behind the camera.
Come on, Wes. So definitely different Bible versions. There's no excuse why you shouldn't be reading the word. The verse of the day is not enough. Spend time in your word. Spend time learning what God's voice sounds like by reading his word. Right. And you're on your way. Yeah. You're on your way to growing closer to him and glowing in your purpose.
And glowing in your purpose.
It's the grows and glows.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Love that.
2 times.
Yeah. That's probably the first time I've ever gotten that right.
Yeah, always. I just don't understand why you just don't get it. It's always like 2 times with me. It's just a me thing.
Okay.
Don't be trying to make Connecticut to be something big.
Yeah, fair enough. Next time I'm on here, we're going to have a handshake. Oh,
because it was
She's been begging me for months.
Listen.
Yeah. Well, and I have one with everyone else, so that's probably why she's on the
It's disrespectful. That's what it is.
Yeah, we'll come back with some hot fire. Yeah.
All right, can't wait to see y'all for the next episode. Keep sipping with me.
Is that good? Peace.
Did you put the pinky on?
Yeah, I mean, it's crooked. Yeah. It's there.